who would 8 hours a day want to sit there bullying people, but the lowest forms of brown shirt trash.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I just wanted to make that point with the Roman Catholic Church because I think that could be another false
Sir, I agree with you, but did you hear me? England is saying the advertising authority, the Truth in Advertising Commission is now, you've heard of them banning Bible passages because it's anti-gay or whatever. Now, this is in the news. It's in my stack. It just doesn't even rate as important compared to all the other. It's very important. That's how conditioned I've gotten to accept pure evil. It's just everywhere. They're saying, we're not going to let you go on the street and preach because we say it's false advertising. I mean, they're taking over. Look, I don't know what to say or how to stress this. We have a criminal foreign banking cartel that has been caught staging terror attacks domestically and around the world, and who's been caught engaged in every other crime you can imagine, shipping guns into Mexico. CBS News got the documents that it was to blame the Second Amendment, involved in narcotics trafficking, everything else you can imagine. They are the bad guys. They have the history of criminality. They're the ones trampling the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And they're all over the news saying, get ready for domestic groups to attack, and watch people at coffee shops paying with cash. Even credit card heads don't pay for $2 cups of coffee at your average coffee shop with credit cards. I mean, I went to a coffee shop yesterday on my way home, pulled in, was going to go jogging, wanted to get hyped up, hadn't taken my pollen burst, vitamin pack, so I said, I'll just get a coffee. Went in, paid like $1.50 for a small coffee, thanks to inflation, walked out and drank it. Again, this idea that everyone's suspect, guilty until proven slave, never proven innocent, guilty until proven serf, guilty until proven minion, guilty until proven slob, guilty until control freaks proven to be control freaks. It's all about the globalists being the boss, all about you being bad. And you take your children in this ritual to the airport, and they put them in a scanner and microwave them and record their naked body on record, have them walk through athlete's foot and flesh-eating bacteria with their shoes off. And then every time I've flown, and others I know that have seen this, almost everyone who's put in a scanner is also then searched. And there they go, boom, they grab the women, squeezing. They go between your legs, they go in your pants, and now go into the underwear and grab your genitals. Miss USA, you name it. I have seen them going in the pants of people. And then old ladies who can't get up out of wheelchairs, they take them behind closed doors and take all their clothes off and then ask them, what is this? And they're like, I've got a catheter. What's a catheter? They don't even train these demonic brown-shirted scum. They don't even train these flying monkeys that work for the globalist witchy poo system. I mean, they are the scum of the earth. And I've sat there watching people who look like they're about to die. I've seen the cases in the news where they're flying home to die, cancer or whatever, or flying to a final military reunion. I'll never forget, I was in San Francisco flying back to Austin, and they had people getting on international flights or flights to a Pearl Harbor memorial. There was a bunch of these old men and their wives, and half these guys looked like they were dead. This was about 5, 6 years ago. I guess 7 years ago now. It was a few years of 9/11. And they had guys in bright blue with dark blue berets calling themselves Wolverine Security on top of the TSA, gibbering. And I saw this old man with his eyes peeling down, so old that you could see the red of his eyes, peeling down, water dripping out of his eyes. He had an oxygen tank. He had his wife there with him, like she was about 10 years younger. Maybe it was a sister, I don't know. And this guy, he could barely understand his English. He's telling the old man to lift the little oxygen canister out so he can look under it. And the old man's got hearing aids on, and he's got a walker that's got the canister in it, and he's looking up. And I'm standing there, and all of my instincts were to grab that punk and say, leave that old man alone. But see, I'm un-American. It's American to watch a guy with this. It was a bunch of them with their USS Arizona hats. Oh, yeah, that was survivors of the Arizona that went down. I guess people that jumped off the boat or whatever. I guess going one more time before he died to meet his buddies. And they all looked pretty bad shape. But, I mean, this guy really looked bad. And this guy was sitting there gibbering and jabbering at them. And here's the guy looking up. Oh, yeah, this is the terrorist. But, see, that's what zero tolerance is all about. You say, arrest a 5-year-old for running? Arrest somebody for having a Luden's cough drop that isn't even a drug? It isn't even over the counter. It's just sugar pill. Why? And they go, zero tolerance. It's about it being crazy. In the military, in drill boot camp, they give you crazy orders to train you to do what you're told. And it's like, look, I'm taking your 1-year-old daughter's diaper off, and I'm going to put filthy gloves on her private parts. I'm a pot-bellied pedophile. That's what they do. That's who they are, and they live to kill this country. I'm going to go to your calls right now in the next segment, and then I'm going to News Blast. I can't wait too long and then not get to all this. So I'll take calls, cover news, then take calls. Peak oil scare fades as shale, deepwater wells gush crude, Bloomberg. Washington Post, trustee says MF Global sustained itself on customer funds. Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Egyptian TV, I would not look to the U.S. Constitution to craft a modern law document. Yeah, they want this democratization where the elites can fund the general mass to rob somebody. What a criminal. I remember her talking about get rid of the Constitution, follow UN law that says you have no rights in Article 30. That's just some of what's coming up. And, of course, our big alert, they are getting ready to stage terror attacks. We know who stages them. I'll get more into that coming up. This is a terror alert. We are warning you. This is a real terror alert with specifics and who we're saying will stage it. Okay? James in Florida, thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Proof of psychological conditioning against United States citizens. I went to Gasparilla here in Tampa, thousands of people at this event to support Ron Paul with signs, etc. And the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office got brand new uniforms, which looked exactly like combat uniforms, with the exception of they were not wearing the helmets, they did not have MC-16s, and instead of camo, it was all green. I mean, it was crazy. They were lining the sidewalks behind us, and they just looked like savages, mercenaries, ready to gun us down.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, they've done this with children psychologically. You dress them up in an outfit, they act like it. You dress somebody up in a gorilla outfit, they act like a gorilla. In a hunting outfit, they act like a hunter. And they put them in black, put masks on them, put them in military outfits. A military fights an enemy. So they train them to be a military. They admit they've been militarized. They're very proud of it now. 15 years ago, they deny it. And they train for war with us. And they work for the foreign banks. And they've done a superb job. The country is collapsing. Their future is gone. Great job. And they want a civil war with the American people. The bankers are probably going to blow a bunch of stuff up and sick them on a bunch of people to come grab their kids. The public will be forced to fight back. And all their little uniforms, I guess, are supposed to intimidate us. It doesn't do that, but does the opposite. But 3 million guns sold in December. Record. So, and were they bugging their eyes out eating stuff? Because, a Ron Paul event, you certainly can't. You got to watch those folks.
Absolutely. And honestly, people need to study history. They need to see. I mean, this is the Politburo.
But, I mean, 20 years ago in every science fiction movie about a dystopic nightmare, the police dress like they do now. I mean, even in cartoons, we know what third world police states look like. This is it. And they're trying to convince themselves, hey, we're going to grope you. We're going to arrest you and disappear you. We're going to torture you. We're the good guys. No, you're the bad guys. Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. Have you seen this new movie that's coming out? That's the actors in it are actual Navy SEALs. I mean, it's pure,
yeah, they got SEAL Team 6. It's all just mindless worship. So a bunch of people go sign up at the military to be injected with cancer viruses and given amnesics after combat and used as guinea pigs before the final rollout of the robot armies.
Yeah,
it's all big recruiting tools to get young people to join so they can be used up and believe that America's the good guys when America's run by a bunch of murderous criminal banks. The only way to get America back is to admit that.
Exactly. We all need to rise up with ideas, just like Ron Paul says.
Well done, my friend. God bless you. All right, we're going to come back and go to Shane, Josh, James, JR. We'll get to all of you. JR before James. 800-259-9231 is the number to join us. I'll take the calls that are on the board right now. Then I'm going to get back into the news and back into your calls. Look at these headlines. Video. Former general says Russia will not allow Israel-U.S. attack on Iran and Syria. Shouting cameras bark orders at residents to leave their own property. It's all coming up today. Look, I'm going to explain this again. The government doesn't exist. It's been taken over by offshore banks. America's been hijacked. Open world government is being announced that you're going to pay carbon taxes to VAT. A global cashless society is being set up, and they're going to totally outlaw any type of underground economy. Canning preserves, selling them, selling pecans. That's why Forbes says, why is there a war on gardens and lemonade stands? All over the country, under Agenda 21, the zoning is standardized. And that was admitted yesterday in the New York Times. But they said you're a kook if you don't like the UN setting your agenda. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I remember her making comments like this in USA Today. I remember one time 4 of the 9 made comments like this in 1 week. The nine ring wraiths. Justice Ginsburg on Egyptian TV. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution to craft modern law document. Yeah, don't look to that. That guarantees certain rights. We like, she said, democracy is what you need. If 51% say kill the other 49, do it. Because they can then just put in electronic voting machines or get the general public to do what they want and bring in real tyranny. I mean, pure democracy is so dangerous. I want to get into that. Big report in Bloomberg on peak oil. There's obviously our biggest story of the day is that I'm issuing an emergency terror alert. And my terror alerts, many of them have unfortunately unfolded. I've said, look for a terror attack the next month. They're really hyping it. Boom, Times Square. Look for a terror attack. Boom, 9/11. Look for them to hit the World Trade Center. I know what I'm talking about. And I've got this report up at Infowars.com right now. Infowars issues emergency terror alert. Please get it out to everyone you know, and we break down the evidence that the military-industrial complex owned by the big mega banks is really gearing up to crack down on the American people ahead of an Iran war. And they're saying anybody that imagines the UN's taking over, anybody that thinks big banks are taking over, it actually says this in the MIAC report. Anybody that likes Ron Paul, anybody that thinks the government's too big, they're a terrorist. Hey, did you pay for cash for the coffee? Call the cops. It actually says, go ahead and call FBI. But then when I've tried to call and report, yeah, I've got Operation Northwoods, a plan to stage 9/11. I've got Gulf of Tonkin staged. And now these White House advisors are calling for a new Oklahoma City. I want to report the names of the FBI agents that were seen by Jane Graham, the witness, the head of HUD in the building, who she saw planting bombs. Click. I've called them on radio, on air. And people are so cowardly out there. I've seen websites saying I'm not really calling the FBI. oh, no one would dare call them and talk like that. They're just people in suits trying to scare us. And I've had enough. I don't care if they arrest me, torture me, whatever. I'm not looking forward to it, but you know what? Somebody's got to stand up against these killers. And I'll say it again. I've had FBI people send me documents. I know there's good people in the government, but that's in the lower strata. Up top, they ship tens of thousands of guns to Mexico to control the drug war, to get the drugs shipped in, and to blame the Second Amendment. And I told you that 6 years ago. Now it's on record. I told you Holder would play the card that Bush was involved in similar things. He did play it because I knew. That's why ISA can't bring down Obama. That's why they can't bring down MF Global. That's why they can't punish any of these people, because it's all a bunch of crooks.